Hello ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here back with more Let's Play Final Fantasy IX. And we are taking this time to finish up the side quests. I'm not finishing all of the side quests, but I'm completing all of the side quests that I intend on doing. So first and foremost, we're going to come here to Daguerrero. We're going to talk to the four-armed man, and we're going to learn about him and his treasure hunting obsession. We're going to start the Excalibur quest and continue on. So we also find out that our rank has increased to S rank for treasure hunting. Should be if you've picked up, the majority of the treasure chests in dungeons, and completing the Chocograph quests should be more than enough to get you high enough rank. So to start the Excalibur quest, we come talk to this guy that we've talked to before, but you have to be on disc 4 for it. So he'll ask for the magical fingertip. To get the magical fingertip, you have to have bought the Griffin's Heart, the Doga's Artifact, Un's Mirror, and the Rat Tail from the Trento auction house, and sold them to their respective clients in Trento. Somehow I screwed up and did not sell them on the same save file that I ended up using, so I went to the auction house and tried to buy the magical fingertip, and it was not there. Because while I sold them on screen, I loaded a different save file, and yeah. So we find out that the four-armed man is just a rank D treasure hunter, and he was just talking a big game. He wants to be rank S to earn the respect of others so people don't make fun of him anymore. Somehow he has a rank S medal, so he gives it to us. And then he tells us that his name is Gilgamesh. And, following tradition, there's a Cid, there's Chocobos, there's Gilgamesh in most Final Fantasy games. So we come to Trento to bid on the magical fingertip, and it starts at 8,900 gil, and as you can see, just skyrockets in price for no discernible reason. I think we get it for just a hair under 40,000. So, yeah, that's because people here do not know how auctions actually work. So, and I get the very last bid, almost missing it just by a hair because I was so frustrated with the AI for the Trento nobles. So we come back and we exchange the magical fingertip for the Excalibur, which is hilarious because Excalibur is not Steiner's strongest weapon in this game. The Excalibur 2 is his strongest, but that can only be obtained by speedrunning, or doing a very specific strategy to get to the end of the game at a very set point. His strongest weapon, other than that, is going to be the Ragnarok. So I find that really entertaining that Excalibur is not his strongest weapon, but I find it funny because I use a Ragnarok in Final Fantasy XI. It's one of the stronger greatswords, and it's one of my favorites. So in 2 games, I prefer Ragnarok over Excalibur. So that's what we get from that quest. And moving on, the next thing we're going to do is head to Trento and do the last of the Trento Knight's House monster battles. So that's... With this, we are fighting a behemoth, which, depending on how you go about it, should be doable with most of your party. I've seen strategies for just about everyone. So, I throw Freya in, and it would take 3 Dragon's Crests to guarantee the victory. It should just take 2 and a melee hit, but I've noticed the behemoth can randomly counter melee hits with Meteor or Comet, one of the 2. I forget which one. I'm pretty sure it's Meteor. And, Meteor can do a ridiculous damage spread, so I didn't want to take the chance of, if I didn't get enough damage to kill it, that it would counter and kill me in 1 hit. So, guaranteed damage with the Dragon's Crest. It takes 3. You're golden. So, and we get nothing good from this either. We get, I believe it's a circlet. It's a circlet or cornet. I don't remember which one. But it's not worth the trouble. And most of the side quests at this point are like that. The Mognet was really frustrating, but yet that was the last one I took the time to complete. Some of the quests that I'm not going to complete are the Kuponut side quest with the Mughals in Gizmalu Grotto. I don't complete that one. At least I'm not going to. I haven't as of right now. And there's a side quest for Dagger's real name, but that one, much like the Mognet, is just a lot of talking and not a lot of doing, and it's eh. Like, if you really want to know Dagger's real name, I can say it in an episode toward the end. So, but yeah, so that's a thing. And Quan's Dwelling will be where we spend most of our time in this episode, because we come here for one of the Stillosseo side quests, and we come for the special scene that we have here between Quina, Vivi, Quan, and Quail. So it's all the cues that we know at the moment. And it's a little interesting skit, but again, it's mostly just talking. The only thing we get equipment-wise from it is a pair of running shoes, which we already have. So, Quina sees this magnificent feast before them and wonders where it comes from and just eats to their heart's content. And again, none of this makes really any sense, but it's an interesting little scene. But yeah, there's a couple of side quests, and I do the Mognet side quest, but I didn't do all of the Mughal letter delivery that was leading up to that. So, and I'm pretty sure there's another side quest that I haven't done. There's an optional fight where you get to fight Vivi's master, Quail. And Quail is also a rather difficult optional boss, but nowhere near as difficult as Ozma. So, like, I could do it, I might, but I don't know if it's related to the catching 99 frogs. If it is, then I'm not going to bother with that, because Queen is another one of the characters that can hit the quad 9 damage cap by collecting, maxing out on frogs. Collecting 99 frogs, you'll hit the quad 9 damage cap with frog drop. So it's also not a hard thing to do, much easier than Zidane's thievery quest, but it's there's no point in me doing it at this stage in the game. So the whole topic that's going on in the background, for those of you who are having trouble paying attention to me and reading the story, is Quan learned the power of imagination is the true power of the gourmand. And Quina saw it as well, and Quina's imagination from traveling with Zidane is what helped visualize that giant feast in the other room. And we find out that Quan learned this by raising Vivi, and by having to teach Vivi about the world around them. That was what developed Quan's imagination, which, with Quan's imagination going wild, allowed them to realize that real food is not necessarily the end goal of the gourmand. And I'm assuming that it's a very metaphysical thing, that Quan stopped eating altogether because was relying on sustenance from imagination, like Quina was just now, eating the imaginary food, and that's why Quan died, because wasn't actually eating real food and sustaining off of, imagination food, and grew as a person because of which, but then also again still passed away. At least I think that's what happened. It's still very ambiguous as to what happened with Quan, why Quan just died. I guess you could link the two together, or they could be completely unrelated and Quan just died of of natural causes, old age, what have you, with the cues. But I like to think that, you know, in a metaphysical sense, Quan became a better person from not having to be a glutton, and that's what happened. And after this scene, you search the clock, and you get the running shoes. Again, we already had a pair of running shoes, but if you need another one to get auto haste on more characters at once, then that's the way to go about it. So the next thing that we're going to do is the Stillosseo quest, which involves getting the last Stillosseo on the Invincible, which is the Pisces here. If you followed the same guide or followed my actions throughout the game, then this will be your last one. You take it to the Stillosseo Queen in Trento, and when you hand over all 12, your 12th reward will be a Robe of Lords, which is actually really nice. It's something you can get through the Chocobo Hot and Cold game as well, which we have not got. But once all 12 are there, the Queen feels that something's missing, and it's because there's a hidden 13th Stillosseo. And in order to get the 13th Stillosseo, she gives us all 12 so that we can reread the descriptions, and somehow they lead you back to Quan's dwelling where the Scorpio Stillosseo was, and you find the 13th, and I'm not even going to begin to try to pronounce that. And when you find it, Virgo and Scorpio, it gives you the message that they glow, so you can check those, and it gets a little bit more for the story, so that we can see every bit of the story involving the Stillosseo. And in the end, Virgo and Scorpio are the two that end up together out of all of them, and it's their future is uncertain, but that moment is what meant everything, and it's a very live in the moment kind of thing. So, and with that, you bring the last Stillosseo back to the Queen, and she asks for all 13 of them, so you give all 13 back. And our reward for this is a unique item. We get Cinna's Hammer, which has one of two uses, and I'm not sure what I'm going to actually use it for yet. It can be used to create Steiner's best armor in the game, the tin armor, which it's a joke upon itself, tin. But that is his best suit of armor. Or you can use it to get an extra scene at the end of the game during the end credits. The extra scene I'm kind of not leaning toward, because it seems I've seen the scene that it requires, and I feel like the armor would be better suited. But I still have a little bit of time, depending on when this episode goes up. So if I haven't recorded it already, you guys can comment and say which one you'd want to see, and I can try to go from there. But I may end up recording it before this episode goes up, which makes it a moot point. So it's hard to say. But searching through the list, we get to see. I'm looking for the hammer so that I can read the description, but it really just says Cinna's Hammer, which is kind of disappointing. But we have Cinna's Hammer, the hammer that he said he would never be without, is now in our inventory. So, Mazel Tov for that. And then the last bit we have is the Mognet side quest, which this is a side quest that I hate. This literally took 40 minutes. I took 40 minutes of gameplay and condensed it down to much, much less. So, like, 40 minutes to maybe 6 minutes, because it involves a lot of running around. It's run, talk to this person, run, talk to that person, run, talk to this person, and in a loop. So we come to Mognet Central, and we find out that the machinery at Mognet Central has stopped, and they need a specific item in which to get things going again. And I think the items in the background that we can see there, like the clock, the little model of the castle, those are, I think, clues to where the Mughals that you need to talk to for this quest are. But once we find out that Mognet has stopped working because Artemisian used all of the gear grease on himself to make his fur all soft, we come to Alexandria and talk to Kupo, and Kupo starts the quest, and Kupo will also be the end of the quest. You have to do a set section of Mognet transfers between characters, so you have to know where these Mughals are, and one of them actually changes places. One of the Mughals that you're asked to send to originally was in the Ice Cavern, but the Ice Cavern is closed up after the Shining Island collapses because all of these rifts and fissures start opening up, which block off the Ice Cavern. So you go from Alexandria, we come here to Burmecia, which Burmecia is the hardest one because the Mughal is the very end of Burmecia, and Burmecia is filled with random encounters. And they're all terrible random encounters. They're all the same random encounters as the first time we came here. So everything dies in one hit, so it takes more time than anything else. After Burmecia, we go to Black Mage Village, and all of these Mughals are realizing what needs to happen is they need to find the item. And the item is some sort of gear grease that you'll find as you progress. Again, I don't know how you're supposed to figure most of this out other than just taking a lot of time to talk to every single person. Next person we come to talk to is in Ibsen's castle, which is one of the reasons what leads me to believe that those Mughals are the ones that you need to speak to, because there is the model of Ibsen's castle in Mognet Central. So I think those are the particular Mughals that you need to address. So if you have any trouble finding out where they are without a guide, I think that's the in-game information. I could be wrong, but this Mughal, Mois, is in... I think this is the one who moved from the Ice Cavern to the entrance to Fossil Rue. So you have to go through Q's Marsh on the Mist Continent to get here. So, supposedly you have to have Quina in your party, but all I've noticed that Quina does in your party here is ask you if you want to catch frogs every time you come to the frog pond. So, I don't know if that's 100% accurate. It seems like it is. Back to Daguerrero. We come and talk to the Mughal here. They are one of the ones involved as well. So, and the item that you get for this, literally, the way I went through it, a 40-minute side quest, we get, I believe it's a Protect Ring. So, this is just further proof that most of these side quests are pointless compared to just doing the Chocographs. If you do the Chocograph quest, that's where you get all of your good equipment and accessories. Everything else is, you know, side quests for the sake of side quest story. And we come back to Kupo, the last Mughal we need to talk to, gives them the information, and they find out that the item that you need is called Super Slick, and someone in Alexandria has it. So we go find Super Slick, and that'll be the end of Mognet Central. And the person that you actually want to talk to about it is Ruby in her little mini theater, because apparently she uses Super Slick on her hair. So we get a container of Super Slick from her, and then take it back to Mognet Central, and that is it. Like I said, the item we get from it is really not worth the 40 minutes that we put into getting it. I really wish a lot of these quests would give, you know, nicer, unique rewards. But it is what it is, so... And we give Artemisian the Super Slick, and everything is back to normal. So yeah, like I said, this is probably going to be the last side quest that I do. I think I'm just going to continue with the game just to finish it finally, because I'm getting kind of antsy about it. It's taking a while. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next installment. So till then, later everyone.